All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Santa Fe Gloom podcast. As always, would like to thank our sponsors who believe in our vision and our mission with the Santa Fe Gloom, support our players, our fans. As always, Pantry Dose. Actually went to Pantry Dose, I think, a couple days ago. It's another amazing spot. Was on my way to a client's house and I was super hungry and I was like, all right, time for a quick breakfast burrito. So Pantry Dose, thank you guys. City of Santa Fe Economic Development, thank you. Capital Ford, Mercedes-Benz of Santa Fe, and Botwin I Group, thank you guys so much. So today we've got a great guest in the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You guys probably know them as throwing the biggest chamber event of the year in the 40 under 40. So, Randy, if you want to just introduce yourself briefly, then we'll go to Janelle and Marcos. So, thank you guys so much for coming on and being the community leaders that you guys are.
Well, I'm Janelle Torres Montemorano, and I am your current business development director for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And how I got involved was simply attending the second annual 40 under 40. Actually, I think it was the first annual 40 under 40 that the chamber had. I am a mortgage lender by trade, and I run 50% of my business up in Santa Fe. And so I'm always networking and out and about in that in our community. And so I had went to the 40 under 40 event, took some business partners, and was completely impressed by the production and everything that that specific program had was contributing back to the community. And so I just knew I wanted to be involved. I knew a few people on the board, and so I reached out specifically to Marcos Zubia, and we had coffee, and I asked him, how do I get involved with something like this, whether it's being a 40 under 40 recipient or just being a part of the board. I love serving my community. So, of course, when I talked to David, we talked a lot about how we could work together. And so I just knew it was the right fit. And I started February of last year as the first business development director for the organization. And so far, we're making waves. We're starting new things. We'll talk about it a little bit later on in the podcast, but we are also starting the Women of Influence Business Program as a chapter of the chamber.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Janelle. And Randy, you back with us?
Yeah, can you hear me now? All right, cool. Randy Lucero. I am the current and new chamber board president, formerly the vice president, succeeding yourself there, David. And I've been a board member for over 5 years now. Started as just a traditional board member, then moved into the vice president role, and then now as the president. And just over the past 5 years, we've seen tremendous growth with what we do, and the engagement in the community and the opportunity to not only have events like 40 under 40 that Marcos is going to talk about, but also be able to bring on staff and really start the community engagement. So, being able to drive that community engagement through people like Janelle and like yourself, in really just identifying opportunity to serve the community that we're in and bring back a lot of the traditional business values that we look to have as Hispanic individuals in a community like Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? And that goes into a lot of our vision, is making sure that we're providing the people in our community resources to do business, ways to do business, and connecting them with other locals to be able to really drive that vision of what Santa Fe is to all the people that are from here.
Perfect. Thank you, Randy. And Marcos.
David, thank you so much for having me on. My name is Marcos Maes. With the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Board, I proudly serve as the board secretary. I have been a member of the board of directors for the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce since March of 2023, so just a little bit over a year. And the reason that it was so important and crucial for me to be able to say that I am not only involved with this organization, but a member of this board, is, like Randy was saying, we celebrate Hispanic excellence. We celebrate our youth. We celebrate community. We celebrate legacy. And to be able just to say that I'm even a small part of that is a tremendous honor. I first heard about the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce kind of the way my colleague Janelle did. And that was the inaugural 40 under 40 event. And I'll be speaking a little bit more about that later. But to be able to have been one of the first folks who was selected as one of the first 40 under 40 was a tremendous honor. And that's how I was exposed to the chamber and the board and the members and the organization. So my day job is I work at Santa Fe Community College. I currently serve as the director of recruitment and student engagement, and I also oversee the dual credit program. And David, before we even get into chamber business and who we are, I want to make sure that we recognize and acknowledge the great work that you have done in just a short amount of time as the Gloom owner, and to see where the Santa Fe Gloom has gone. And in just a short amount of time, they are already in the championship game. They'll be playing in Denver. And while I am going to admit, I don't know that much about soccer. Like, I know Lionel Messi is one of the most famous individuals on earth, but if he were to walk into my office right now with his jersey on, I'd have no idea who he is. Like, that's my limited knowledge on soccer. But what I do know is this, David. I know how important soccer means to our community, not just to go and see the sport and the competitiveness of it, but even from a social justice and equity standpoint. Symbolically, it means so much to have soccer here in our community. So the fact that you faced barrier after barrier after barrier, you did not quit. And the fact that the Gloom is alive and well and doing so well in the league, it's a big credit to you and the players and the community and the support that you've still been given. So congratulations, my friend, and keep up the good work. We hope to be celebrating the Gloom and Santa Fe soccer, professional soccer, for many, many years to come.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And we'll touch on that in a bit, but thank you so much for that. Randy, tell our audience and just kind of reflect back from when you joined the board, which was, I guess, 5 years ago, and kind of where the position or where the chamber was at that point and where we're at now. Just kind of give us your reflection and some of the barriers that we kind of had to jump through, especially kind of during COVID and bouncing back from that.
Yeah. So when I joined the Hispanic Chamber Board, I mean, part of my story in joining was growing up in this community. You used to hear about what the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber meant to the community, right? And as we go through it, we've seen so many wonderful business owners that are locals that have done huge things for this community, and they all used to be part of the Hispanic Chamber. And so in my position in banking, it was important for me to start really getting into the networking, and I wanted to be a part of something that was more filtered towards our community and the community that I grew up in, as far as the Hispanic business owners, my father being a Hispanic business owner, my grandfather, and then just, all of the different aspects of what we have here in Santa Fe. But when I joined that board, it was not what I had heard about over all the years of, I'd say, my youth, right? And I think that it got to a point of the board or the Hispanic Chamber was semi-stagnant because of the fact that we didn't have the young leaders stepping into the position of taking over that torch, taking over that mantle of really continuing to press our values as, the Hispanic community and the Hispanic business community. And so we, when I say we, as you were part of that board team, we started looking for the board members that have, I don't want to say youth, but a little less experience than the ones that we had on there, right? To bring new ideas and really start to shape the board and shape the vision of the Hispanic Chamber around the growth of bringing in those younger leaders, right? Being able to have these experienced leaders that we had pass over that torch and really move into the way business is done now versus just sitting back and doing it the way that it had always been done, right? And really adding a new spin to it. So over the past 5 years, we've done a lot with that in general of, the way that we look to host events, the places that we're looking to host events, the partnering that we're looking to do around the community, and really drive towards the younger generation of Santa Feans and business owners and Hispanic business owners and people doing business in our community, because that's really what we want to do. Because if not, we're never going to be able to continue to see this chamber grow. And that's where we started identifying individuals like Marcos, who has a huge impact in the community there at the Santa Fe Community College, and people like Janelle, who are out and about and just touching base with all these different dynamic leaders that we have, and really putting our chamber back to the forefront of being able to be relevant in our community, right? Being able to do more for the younger generation, because we have so much to learn from the older generation that we have, but we need to be able to bring those people in so they can obtain that knowledge, so they can have access to those people. And that's been, the big part of the vision. And so now we went from having events that were not really well attended, we'd have maybe 5 people, and it was the same 5 people that showed up plus some of the board members, to now we had a great event last night that Janelle was spearheaded for us with the Raccoon Group, where we partnered. And I'm assuming that we've had some major attendance there. I was unable to join because we had some family stuff going on, but some big attendance, right? We had our 40 under 40, which was probably one of the most widely attended events that we've ever had. And last year, the first year, we were about 200 participants or attendees, to last year we were about 510, which was huge, and it was fully sold out. We couldn't even sell more tickets if we wanted to, because we would have the fire marshal show up. So being able to see from 5 years ago, when we couldn't even get a networking event attended, to now where we're having events like the 40 under 40, where we're going to have 500 plus people. We're going to sell out on tickets. We have additional events like the one that Janelle had put on for the Raccoon Group. We have these other events that we're putting on as far as the after hours, where now we're having widely attended events, and it is from all generations. So we're able to do business across generational lines, which is super important to us. And I think that it's been a big blessing for us to be able to have the experience that we have on the board, but also the youth to be able to take us to that next level. And really, in our vision, is to become the premier chamber in the Santa Fe community.
Yeah, well said, Randy. Thank you so much for that. And Marcos, the 40 under 40, talk us through a couple of things on what it meant for you personally receiving that award, and what it means for the future of Santa Fe, and that people in their 20s and 30s can say, you know what, I want to be one of those 40 under 40 business leaders in our community. And keep in mind, I think the special thing about the 40 under 40 is that it's not just in Santa Fe. It's actually technically northern New Mexico. Mm-hmm. So it's Espanola, it's Los Alamos. So I think that's another real special thing that our Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber brings, is bringing northern New Mexico all together as well in one event. So Marcos, give us your reflections with the 40 under 40.
Excellent questions, David. So for me, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, when I found out that, first of all, that I was nominated, that somebody actually took the time to nominate me as one of Santa Fe's 40 under 40, or one of northern New Mexico's 40 under 40, that was already in itself a tremendous honor. And then when I received the news that I actually was selected as one of the 40 under 40, it truly, I was taken aback. I was humbled, and it meant so much to me. And I had heard of 40 under 40 events at other organizations, other states across the country. So the fact that the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was proactive and had this vision, that made it that much sweeter. So to be selected, I will always remember this. The timing was just perfect. So I had walked in my graduation from my master's degree that Saturday. The very next day, I was still on this natural high from walking and achieving an ultimate goal that I had in getting my master's degree. And then I find out that Sunday evening that I was selected as a 40 under 40. That was just one of the best weekends I've ever had. So just the whole lead up to from when you're selected, because I was selected, I believe, in late July or August. And then when the event actually happened in late September, that is like a really fun, like just month and a half where you're getting congratulated by your peers. You're being highlighted by the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber in their digital newsletters, on their website. People get to see your biography, who you are, what you did. And then when I really started to get to know some of my other colleagues, some of my other peers who were selected as 40 under 40, it was just mind blowing to see the talent that was being selected and that was going to ultimately be in that room at the Santa Fe Convention Center. We're talking about attorneys, community activists. Mm-hmm. We're talking about folks who would end up becoming elected officials. We're talking about educators, business owners. It was absolutely mind-boggling that I got to say that for one night, I was a peer of so many of these incredibly talented people. Now, when we did the 40 under 40 event, I knew that it was big, but, and again, like Randy was just saying, it got bigger the second year. But that first year, it was pretty dang big. When I walked into that Santa Fe Convention Center, the night of 40 under 40, and we saw the tables, we saw the setup, the music, the way it was decorated, it was extremely mind-blowing. And it's something that I'm never going to forget. And the fact that I got to experience that with loved ones, with close friends and colleagues, and I got to share that, it was one of the best nights of my life. So anybody who thinks that, anybody who has somebody in mind that could be one of our next 40 under 40, let us know here at the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber, because it is an incredible honor. It's a great opportunity. And like Randy was saying, it is becoming one of the biggest events in all of Santa Fe. It doesn't matter what the organization is. Our 40 under 40 is quickly becoming one of the premier events in Santa Fe, and it's only going to get bigger. The fact that we've only done 2 40 under 40s, and the fact that we basically doubled our size from one year to the next, is absolutely an incredible feat. So I hope I explained that, David. For anybody that's in their 20s and 30s, this is definitely something that I hope that they get to experience at some point in their life living in Santa Fe.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I think my brief reflections was, I mean, for one, it was like so much work, right? To lead up to it. We're planning, at least 4 or 5 months ahead of time. And the show's like 2 hours, but it's worth every second of it, every second, and we see all the young people light up when they get onto that stage, and they're just like, it's amazing, and a lot of the feedback that I got, I guess maybe the first year, was people didn't want to see it like a graduation. They didn't want it to be like real long. But Marcos, you were one of our readers, and we got through the 40 under 40 within like 45 minutes. It was quick, but people still felt recognized, and they got basically the movers and the shakers in the room, all at once. So, Marcos, thank you so much for being a part of that. Now you're on the other side of the 40 under 40 with the planning. And Janelle, you're one of the main reasons we grew the 40 under 40 in that room. Marcos and Randy were just saying that, we're at like 200, 250, and then we grew it to almost max crowd. So give us your reflections on the 40 under 40 and your women's of influence that you're also heading. And just give us your reflections of the 40 under 40, the Hispanic Chamber, and just what it means to you to be a part of our group.
Well, some of my reflections is just, it was absolutely amazing to see it grow. I honestly couldn't have done it without the mentorship of a few individuals on the board, especially David, and the connections that were already made with the chamber. I do feel like people have a high respect for the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber, considering it is one of the oldest chambers around. It's in U.S. history, right?
Yeah, I think it's the oldest.
Yeah.
I think the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce started in Santa Fe. It makes sense because we're the oldest city as well. So
Absolutely. And as a Hispanic woman in business, it's an absolute honor to be able to be a part of something as big as this. Not just the 40 under 40, but just collectively with the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber as an organization. You're put in a room with so many movers and shakers, important individuals. It's absolutely amazing. I just see so much value in being a part of a chamber, specifically one that gives back to their community and really has a hyper focus on Hispanic owned businesses or Hispanic individuals in the community. So, my takeaway is, it's hard work. It's blood, sweat, and tears all the way up until the day of the event, but well worth it. I definitely have prided myself. I learned a lot along the way. So, I really always like to say that, if there's if I learned everything there is to know, it would be a sad day, right? And so I always love to continue learning. And the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber definitely allows me to do that. I'm learning something consistently from this organization. So those are just a few of my takeaways. We're always looking for other people to be a part of it, whether it's a member or as a volunteer individual. And, we want to be able to help you grow. Seeing you succeed makes us succeed. We all succeed together by helping each other.
Perfect. Well said. And I'm not going to let you off the hook without explaining how last night went as well. I thought that I was there for about 45 minutes. So share with us, Randy was talking about our after hours events. Just give us your reflections of that night and how that was.
Right. Well, the Business After Hours platform has given us a lot of opportunity to be creative. So we've partnered with a lot of different organizations within the Santa Fe community, whether it's a bank or a wealth advising company or a small business like a restaurant. So we're always looking to partner and be creative and see how we can offer back to our community through those resources. And we were actually approached by a wealth advising company, a local wealth advisor company, to co-host a business after hours. And we got pretty creative. We created a happy hour event with different sponsors, and they had a really fun game that helped us network and stay connected. And there was a huge turnout. I don't know, David, would you say there was at least 50 to 70 people there?
At least, yeah.
Awesome.
The location was the Den downtown, and it was
Okay.
the Raccoon Group. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anthony
local-
Penner, great job.
Absolutely. Yes. So the Raccoon Group was somebody we partnered with, and it was a great turnout. We brought our connections together and filled the room. And we also had a great platform to be able to speak about what the chamber does. So that was super amazing.
Great. Thank you guys so much. I know we all have busy lives. Anything else we want to add? Marcos, Randy, Janelle, thank you guys so much for everything you do. The sky's the limit for the Hispanic Chamber at this point. So
yeah, no, David, just thank you for allowing us this platform to really talk about the chamber, the vision, and everything that we're looking to do, again, to become that chamber that is the premier chamber in Santa Fe. But additionally, just as we mentioned before, if you're looking to get involved, Janelle is a huge resource for all of us, and she would be happy to have a conversation with you about the different opportunities that we have. And we only mentioned a few of them: business after hours, 40 under 40. We do some economic type forums and really try to get into not necessarily the political landscape, but allow people the opportunity to talk with representatives for upcoming elections, be a part of, that process, so we can all do better for our community and be involved. So again, we'd love to have anyone join. We'd love to have people attend the events and have the resources that we all want to be able to provide to our community. So Janelle is that resource for us. So get involved, and we'd love to see you all at the next event.
thank you, Randy. Yeah, we'll put all the Instagram, Facebook, all that contact info in the description box. So we'll end with this, and I'll throw this out there. At our next well, I don't know about our next Santa Fe Gloom game, but definitely next season, which will start most likely in December. We've got a challenge from the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, either our board members or even some of our members. We want to challenge the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce to a halftime futsal game. So you heard it here first that we're going to start to score some goals against the Santa Fe Chamber. So Bridget and your group, if you guys are up for the challenge, Marcos, you better start to learn how to play soccer. And if Messi comes through the community college, sign him up for some art classes or something, and then get him on our side.
Yeah, put him on the board.
Yeah, that's right. Put him on the board. Get him as a donor.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, but that's our challenge to the Santa Fe Chamber. So if you guys are up for it, we would love to show you how to run a chamber and also score some goals. So Randy, Marcos, Janelle, thank you guys so very much. Would love to see you at a Gloom game in the future. We've got our 40 under 40 in September. We've got our monthly after hours events. You guys are doing such a great job. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks.
Yep.